I'm a heart-to-heart hugger. It makes it awkward for him every time. It's October 20th, 2003. I just finished a 2-hour road trip with my best friend. We arrive at our destination. We're in the parking lot and I take a deep breath. I make my way into this beautiful old Victorian-style home. I ring the doorbell. I'm told, for security reasons, that I must show my photo ID next to the doorbell and the camera. So I do. My friend and I make our way into this home and we are greeted by Stella. She takes our coat and invites us to sit in the living room area, which we do. I look around and there's barely any seats left. I finally find a spot and again take a deep breath. I look around at a room filled with women who barely make eye contact with me. I feel guilty. I feel ashamed. And I wonder, what are they all doing here? And then I think, you're a hypocrite. You're here too. The girl next to me starts talking to me as if she's my best friend and I've known her my whole life. How many of you have had this happen to you? You, my dear, are a light worker. She tells me that not too long ago she'd been raped and that it took everything in her power to be here today. She had contemplated suicide many times. I thought to myself, wow, who was I to judge her for being here? Who would ever judge her for being here? Because at just 19 years old, not only was she raped and battling suicidal thoughts, she was now pregnant. Who was judging her? The man at the end of the driveway sure was, with his graphic picket sign. And sadly, for a moment, I was too. Stella calls my name and asks me to make my way upstairs. I do. There's an examining room. I lay on the table for an ultrasound to determine how far in advance my pregnancy is. 13 weeks, I hear them whisper. I ask them if there's a reason why the ultrasound monitor is turned away from me, away from the mothers. And they quickly correct me and they say, the monitor, ma'am, is turned away from the patients to not add more confusion or emotions to an already delicate situation. I think to myself, so we camouflage and we hide the truth because we think it's going to make life easier? How many of us do this in our lives, where we camouflage or we hide the truth to make things easier for ourselves, mostly for our children? I'm here to share with you that throughout the years I've learned that the only thing truly enlightening and empowering is truth. I look at them and I ask them, do many people change their minds? Very few, they say. I take another deep breath and I suppress all my emotions inside. I've gotten really good at this. I've done it my whole life. And I ask them to turn the monitor. I immediately start to cry. That's a head. Those are little feet. That's my baby. The nurse asks if I want to hear its heartbeat. Stella, at this point, is very reluctant. I nod yes. And at that very moment, I heard my baby's heartbeat. And when I finally stopped crying enough to muster up a few words, the words came from a source from up above that was bigger than me. And I said, can I go home now? They both smiled. They hugged me. And I made my way downstairs. And I joined my friend. She gives me a hug. We both cry. We make our way outside. My moment of empowerment and of joy is quickly interrupted, though, by that man with the graphic picket sign or protest sign. Thinking I had just had an abortion, he calls me everything but a white girl. What will God think of you, he says. My mind right away goes to anger. I'm thinking to myself, you idiot, I didn't even do it. Shouldn't you be celebrating? Shouldn't you be happy? Mission accomplished, idiot. You want to save lives so badly. You think you're doing this for a good cause. Meanwhile, there's a girl in there that had she succeeded, she would have terminated 2 lives, not just 1. So stick that sign. And I make my way to the car. I reflect back on the unconditional love and supporting feeling that I had in that old Victorian house. And I think, where can I find love for this man? I say, I know where it is. What would God think of me? And during the drive home, I asked my friend who had driven me that day if she would be my son's godmother. Now, when I say godmother, some of you go straight to religion, and at that point, I was a whole lot more spiritual than religious. And those of you that know me now know that that's definitely true. But she was. She was his godmother. The person who was sent from up above to support me and love me unconditionally throughout my journey. The one who on the drive there did not try to convince me to do one thing or another. She just loved me and supported me. And the one person who, when I came down those stairs, hugged me and cried, not even knowing what decision I had made at that point. You see, up until that day, my life had been one complete train wreck after another. From abusive relationships with both men and alcohol, eating disorders, rape, 3 failed suicide attempts. Something had to give. I made the decision that day to turn my life around. I made a promise to myself and to my baby that I would spend the rest of my life trying to make myself a better person, learning everything I had to be an excellent mom, an excellent friend, an excellent daughter, sister, you name it. I wanted to contribute. Amongst the many lessons he's taught me over the past 13 years and an autism diagnosis, I could talk all night about lessons he's taught me. Any parents in the room? Like, really? I want to share with you the 3 mindsets that have revolutionized my life, that have taken my life from chaotic to good, and then eventually from good to great. Actually, I could even say from good to pretty freaking magical. The first one, as you can see, is belief. Small little word, but know why you believe what you believe. When you are born, your natural state of being is joy. We are unconditional. We are happy, whole, and complete just as we are. But as we grow up, it is the people and the situations and the circumstances that we surround ourselves with that form our belief system. So, believe what you believe. But why not every now and then take a few minutes in silence to see if your belief serves you or not? I like to say, are your beliefs serving you or suffering you? Because it is only in the silence of the mind that you will hear the whispers of your heart. This is the part where I tell you all to close your eyes for a minute. We're going to do meditation. No, just kidding. I just need to look at my notes. Do you believe in your intuition? Do you believe in yourself? Because intuition and your higher self will never lead you wrong. That is truth. The problem is many of us are so busy up in here with our to-do list, obligations, worries, and fears that we don't listen to our intuition. Fear is also a belief. Many of us fear failure, and that's why we don't take action to living the life of our dreams. there's a belief out there, actually, that fear of failure isn't really fear of failure itself, but we actually fear the reactions of others once we've failed. So know why you believe what you believe. Spend time in silence, because your soul will never lie to you. The second mindset, alignment. Marcel talked about how we met. It was actually my birthday, too. Pretty cool. When you live in alignment, if you're always looking for what's next, you miss out on what's now. If you've heard of the law of attraction and alignment, I'm preaching to the choir. As one of my mentors, Gabby Bernstein, says, alignment is the new hustle. Are you always hustling? Are you always, thriving and working really hard? Are you always tired? Because if you are, again, take a few moments in silence and reconnect to that alignment. Because when you are in alignment with your core desires and your dreams, life becomes so easy. It becomes simple. It even becomes fun. How many people like to have fun? Yeah. When it comes to alignment, one of the most popular topics that I teach to my clients is abundance. Many of us want to attract abundance, and we think dollar signs. So we try to be in alignment, use the law of attraction to get rich, and it doesn't seem to work, and we get frustrated. And it reminds me of a client of mine who came in, and she wanted to go to a seminar. The seminar was $5,000 a ticket. She was convinced it was going to change her life. She was frustrated why she couldn't get the time off, couldn't get the money, she just couldn't go. She was in her story, in her belief. I invited her to open her perspective a little bit, and I said, what if you just asked the universe for abundance? And she says, I tried that, it didn't work. I said, but did you try to control the how? She says, what do you mean? I said, the how. Did you try to attract $5,000 or did you try to attract abundance? She's like, you lost me. I said, well, abundance could be the $5,000, could be the time off to go, or it could be an abundance of wonderful people who will come into your life and who will give you probably the exact same message you would have received at that seminar if you're open and receptive to it. Could be an abundance of aha moments. So once you surrender the how, you stop trying to figure it all out. Just tap into your why. Alignment is your why, it's not your how. So once you tap into that and you surrender just a little bit more. The third one, probably one of the most important ones, is forgiveness. Being anchored to the past keeps us from flying to the destinations of the future. I'm a former flight attendant, so I use a lot of puns. It makes me feel like I'm funny. My dad was my best friend and my worst enemy, all rolled into one. Some of you are nodding. You get it. You see, my dad was a politician, so we had a very prim and proper image to portray. Probably not barefoot giving a speech in front of a couple hundred people. But I spent my whole life trying to make him proud. I spent my whole life trying to get his attention. And by trying so hard, my life was one series of disappointment and failures after another. When I found out I was pregnant, my first initial thought was, my dad is going to kill me. But then I reflected, and I thought, what if I slowly keep killing myself? What if I keep giving away my power to everyone that I fear reaction or judgment from? Would that be any better? When I announced my pregnancy to my family, my dad stopped talking to me for 6 months. It was horrible. Torture almost. Christmas was really awkward that year. But when my son was born, my dad showed up. There he was at the door, hesitant. And I smiled. I invited him to come into the room. I could have chosen to stay angry, but I realized that as much as the miracle of birth and life can happen every day, the birth of a new situation, of a new relationship can also happen every single day. And when he first laid eyes on my son, his eyes lit up. My son became his little buddy for life. My dad passed away just a little over a year ago. And my heart is filled with gratitude that I chose, before he passed, to forgive him. And I chose to do so unconditionally. Because if you think that a moment of forgiveness is hard, try a lifetime of regret. And when I say forgive unconditionally, do you forgive and love unconditionally? Because if you forgive and you love, but only with conditions, the universe, through the law of attraction, is going to keep bringing you conditions. One of my mentor's favorite sayings is, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if something's not working for you in your life right now, take a step back and reflect. Take a few moments to journal, to meditate, to float at Kini Wellness, whatever it may be. Yeah, I'm shameless that way. Spirit made me do it. So much like my soul sister, Jessica, I'm the type of person who never backs down from a challenge. And when we did the table reading of this talk, everyone was surprised. They said, wow, that's like some deep shit. I said, yeah, I know. Like, that's pretty raw. I'm like, uh-huh. Like, we expected you like in a tutu or a unicorn onesie. Like, can you add a little Cindy to that? And I said, sure I can. And then Jessica said, I dare you to add a unicorn to that somehow. Bam! Lessons from a unicorn. There's magic inside of you. Anything is possible. Dreams do come true. You don't need wings to fly. It's okay to be different. Always believe in yourself, even if nobody else does. I believe in unicorns. So when we stretch our perspectives, when we allow our minds to expand and to welcome in new beliefs, that's when great things happen. But when we combine that with alignment, with our core desires and our dreams, that's when magic happens. And I encourage you to believe in magic. I encourage you to believe in miracles. And find yourself somebody, a group of people, or at least one person who will believe in you. Someone who will support you, whether you succeed or you fail. Someone who will celebrate your failures with you. And you're like, Cindy, I don't got anybody like that in my life. Look next to you right now. Right now. Because everybody that's in this room right now is here because they want something bigger, something better. So find yourself a master mindset buddy and hold that buddy accountable. So, like, careful who you choose there. Because, like, next month I'm like, hey, master mindset buddy, like, I'm holding you accountable to that commitment you made to, like, not eat chocolate as you're stuffing your face with Halloween chocolate bars. Because they will. They'll hold you accountable. That's their job. So my hope for all of you is that you realize that none of us have our shit together. Some of us just choose to dance on broken glass. And my hope for you is that you choose to love and forgive others unconditionally. My hope for you is that you also choose to love yourself and forgive yourself unconditionally. and realize that everybody on this planet is as unique as their fingerprint, and so is their journey. So let's try to not judge them, because judgment is very easy to do. When I talk about abortion, I get it. The woman who's been raped definitely doesn't have the same judgment about abortion as the one who just finished her last round of IVF and so desperately wants to be a mother. Judgment comes when someone's belief doesn't match ours. So I invite you to just shift that perspective and expand just a little bit more. I also encourage you to see that we are all beautiful. We are all a masterpiece, each unique, all different colors, shapes, and sizes, forming this great big beautiful picture that we call life. And I'm hoping that you don't just believe in magic and miracles. I hope that you expect them on a daily basis. It's been a true pleasure sharing sacred space with you all tonight. And it's been a true pleasure to share my story with you. And I hope that for just one moment, you allow your perspective to grow. Thank you.